Academy. Today it's time for the letter Nun. Nun value is 50 and it signifies fish or soul, but very well known as the 50th gate and Bina. So to give a couple of crown jewel examples, if you would take the word Nun-N, which is the Aramaic for fish, Nun-N. You can see it there, right? So now in Likkutei Yirah 9, it teaches us really that a fish, it takes in water, right? So now this water that holds oxygen. So you can see it here because these are the elemental letters connected to mayim, water, right? So it takes in water that houses air, which is oxygen. Okay, so that's a good example there. Also interesting to notice is that the Nun is in the same corner as the Kuf, and the Kuf is 100, which is like fullness, and Nun is 50, right? And you could say that this fullness, Nun is half of it, right? Because fullness, this is values 100, right? And it is also skull, which is Golgotha. So, and the skull houses Abba Ve'ima. So, Ima is half of those two. So that's an interesting thing there. The word Tikkun, for example. If you take Tikkun, then you have the seal of Hashem, right? Seal of Hashem. You have the Yud, which is the Nikuda, right? The seed, the Abba Chochmah, drop of light, so to say. And then you get the Golgotha again, the skull, right? And then the Vav, which is in this case Zerampin Tiferes Yisod, as a pipeline, so to say, to connect Bina, to connect the upper, and then we finish with the Nun, which is the 50th, right? So fish, like the fish swims in waters of Torah. It is not from nothing that is here connected to the mayim, the waters, right? So fish, all connected, womb, the 40 mayim here, which we just did. So very interesting to learn more about the letters. I advise you, the viewer, to go to Likkutei Yirah 9 and study Lashon HaKodesh. If you cannot afford a physical copy, which is available on bookbaby.com and amazon.com, you can download a free PDF file on our website, Kabbalah Academy Online. As was just taught to you, that Bina, the 50th gate, and the garden are connected. So we see here in the Avam cipher that the front of Bina is the Gimel, progress, and the backside is Nun. Yes? So fish. Together they spell Gan, hinting at that garden from which a river flows out. In that river stands the tree of life. Okay, hold on to this thought. We'll go on to the drawing table. Here we are. The first Milui, because we have the worlds of Asiya, Yetzirah, and Beriah, right? Beriah is the world of Bina. If you want to see the full video, there will be more than 10 minutes. You have to visit our YouTube channel, which is Kabbalah Academy Ilan Gadol. Okay, so let's proceed. So Nun, value 50, okay? The ordinal value is 14, which is Yad, right? Bina is one, or you could say one of two hands, even though the hand itself would be Gevura, but it's in the column of it, right? You have two hands, you have a right hand, a left hand. And the Katan is 5, which hints at the Hey. We know from the name Yud Hey, Vav and Hey, Bina to be the first Hey that comes after the Yud. Okay. So I did 3 Miluim. The first Miluim, second Miluim, third Miluim. Very interesting happens. The Gematria is 587. If you add thereto 27 letters, these are exactly 27 letters, you get 614. 614 is the inkalel of 613, which is Beyerat. Now, 27 letters is the Hebrew alphabet. It's the Aleph-Tav plus the 5 Sufit letters. Okay, it's its complete arsenal of letters by which Torah, Zohar, books of the sages are written, right? The Lashon HaKodesh expresses itself through these letters. So, the 14, usually say it's an inkolel, but in this case I'm tempted to say it's 613 plus 1, because we are speaking about Shaar Nun. Right? Nun is 50. It's the Jubilee, 7 times 7, and you'll see as we proceed how that fits this teaching, gets you to 49. So the plus 1 is what leads to that 50th gate, right? The ordinal value of this phrase is 218, which is the value of Zoya, and it's the value of Beria, because Bina, world of Beria, okay? Melech HaMashiach is found when we add up to these numbers the Katan value of the phrase 128, which is 933. Melech HaMashiach with a Chet Sufi, valuing 500. Okay, very interesting. These 27 letters plus the third Milui leading to all this. So the Aleph Tav included will proceed. The triangular expansion of the Milui. Let me see, this is of the second Milui. Leads us to, let's do this part first. 702 is the total of the Gematria, Ordinal, and Katan, which is a mirror image of Or, light, 207. But 702 is Shabbat, and it's Eitzem plus Basar, white and red, bone and flesh, Abba ve'ima. Okay? 702 can be seen as 70 and 2, Ein base, Av, Abba, Absat Ma, 72 letter name. So why? Because Ima is the Chitzoniot and Abba is the Penimiot. If you follow the teachings of Yirah Ari, you will know that the Ima is the Malbush, is the vessel that holds that light of Abba, right? So the 450 itself here is 45 times 10, or 50 times 9, which are all the Sefirot on the Ketem, right? The Nun unfolds in 9 Sefirot. There's also Ma, reality. So in a full tree, Adam, right? So 450 is also Beyom Shavi'i, the 7th day, which is that 7 times 7, that great Sabbath, which again plus the 1, the Or, right? Beyerat, Or, 16, 613 in 1, 614. So we also have the 351, which is Kedem le Gan Eden, preceded Gan Eden. And what preceded Gan Eden? Abba, Chochmah, Keter, of course, but the 50th, right, which is higher than Bina itself, but pointing at Bina, right, as that point of getting there, and only Moshe can reach to the 50th. You know that only Moshe can reach the 50th. So I want to read something with you all, but before that, Lag BaOmer is also 351. And Lag BaOmer, we count the Omer 49 to the 50th, right? This is also about Shaar Nun. There's many more things that will come together here. Let us go to Zohar Truma 11, verse 9-15. So this is about Bina. In 9:15 we read, Rav Yehuda said, when Chochmah started to engrave in all the crowns, from which crown did it start? He answers, from that crown that is called Bina, as everything is included in Bina. Therefore 50 gates were opened in it. So it appears that everything was engraved with Chochmah. This is what is meant by, in wisdom have you made them all. Tehillim 104, verse 24. So very interesting, because that teaches us that that 50th gate is reached to Bina indeed, but it is not solely Bina. It's because also the tree of life stands in the river that flows from that garden, which is Bina, right? Flowing to Malchut. So there's much more to it. And you see as we proceed. First we'll do this. What did I do? I went to the album Atbash and Kuzu. So we had the word Nun, right? And in Atbash that is Chevet, Taf, Fe, Taf, Tet, Tet, Fe, Tet. So I put the values here. In Kuzu it starts to get interesting. We get an 86, which is Elohim, which is equal to Bina. We get a 32, which are the Nechiv, the paths, right? Then Sefirot, 22 paths, interconnections. I'll do this one, because the first letters, if you only take the Nun itself, which we're treating today, and you take the Tet, you take the Chet, you get a 67, which is the value of Bina. So that's the Nun in all three these ciphers. Then the sum total of the Gematria was 290. We'll do 294 first. 290 is Miriam, right? And Miriam receives the Maim Nukran from Ima, right? So the daughter Malchut Nukva, the poor one, right? The well for living waters of Torah, and the wilderness in which one can swim, right? There's the fish again. So the total here of the ordinal, Katan, and Gematria is 456. Very interesting number in this teaching. I find it is a lot telling, because what is 456? Makes me immediately think of Netzachoid and Yesoid, which are the Sefirot in which the womb and the ovaries, or with the female, the testicles and the male reproductive organ are found. There's a very clear physical example, which is a lower representation of a very high concept, is that these chitzoniot and pnimios is also seen there in our physicality, because from the ovary comes the egg, right? The female egg. And it goes to the womb, and this female egg is like a vessel, right? And what can it bear? It can bear that seed, and that seed that come from the testicles come also from the Netzachoid to the Yisod, the male reproductive organ, and it implants it, so to say, in the female organ, where it then enters the egg. So there you see again that light of Abba, that seed, supernal seed, being housed in the Malbush, this container, this vessel of Ima. Okay, so when we speak of Ima, we speak of a whole lot more, which is within Ima, so to say. So, but the 456, it is the 3 times Echia, 3 times the Milui of Echia. Aleph Hi Yud Hi, Aleph He Yud He, Aleph Ha Yud Ha. If you add these 3, you get 455 plus 1. Here we go again the plus 1, and 450. 6, 4, 5, and 6. Netzachot Yesod, indeed. But these are thought by the Arizal also to be the three fillings of Echia, right? The Bina's Mochin, you can say it as such. So, this also 456 values Tana, which is a fig, right? Okay, yes, I'm back. Channel of Ima's Mochin, right? So Proverbs 27:18 reads, "He who guards the fig tree, which is the Mochin of Ima, will eat its fruit," hinting at the Mochin of Abba. So a recap on what we treated, the Nun, right? 50th gate. The Zohar teaches all of Torah is encompassed in awe. In awe is Beyirat, right? Beyirat, housed in awe. I want to take you to Rolla 21, book 1 of the Zohar. Precept, first precept, right? To be in awe of the Creator. It says here, in the beginning, Hashem created, Bereshit 1:1. This is the first and foremost precept of all. And this precept is called the fear of the Lord, awe, Yirah, which is called the beginning. As it is written, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, Chochmah. Tehillim 111 and 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, Daas, Mishlei 1:7. Because this fear or awe is called the beginning, and it is the gateway through which one enters into faith. So based on this precept, the whole world is able to exist. Verse 194. The fear of the Lord is called the beginning of knowledge. Whoever observes the precept of fear observes all of the others, and who does not observe the precept of fear does not observe any of the precepts of the Torah, because this fear, Yirah, is the gateway to everything. Okay? So, to go in a short summary of what we spoke about, so when the Nun is expanded through the worlds up to Beria, that was these 3 Miluim, right? It yields 27 letters, which is the Aleph, Tav, and 5 Shafit letters, right? So their sum was 614, which was 613 Beyirat in all, which leads to that additional 1 that completes the 7 times 7 Shaar Nun. So the Zohar, right, it speaks about Beyirat, and this is really in the secret of the Raya Mahemna. Raya Mahemna, which is the elevated version of Moshe. Moshe is the one that holds the way to the 50th gate, right? So 432 is the value of Raya Mahemna, and 432 is also the value of Yirah Ha'ari, Zeh HaSoid Moshe, Soid Mashiach, many more things that all point us at the same information. So, and Melech HaMashiach 933 was found, right? So the values of Beria are the world where Bina's gates are revealed, right? So Nun is also clothed as Bina the Malbush, channeling Abba's hidden light. This is also why we saw Miriam, right, the 290, the well of Malchut, which draws Bina's waters. So Torah's living stream and living life, Chai being from Abba, of course, is that light which is within the Malbush of Ima, the stream in the wilderness. And this is why we find also the fig tree, right, the fig of the tree, right. So the 3 fillings of the name Echia, which is the name of Bina, which contains a Nun as its core symbol of Ima's fruit. So Nun gathers all, the all plus 1 of all, right? The 27 letters, Moshe, Mashiach, Shabbat, red, white, flesh, bone, Abba, Ima, Miriam's well, the Malbush of Bina, fig of Ima, all points to Shaar Nun, the hidden gate of Bina that waters the garden. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope it was helpful. And see you in the next. And as my teacher always says, Shalom and Salah.